Well, man, listen, it's great to be back with you guys again. I'm going to tell you exactly how it is. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I want them to circumvent the actual truth in the situation. Look, this thing is citywide. It's not just citywide. It's not just village-wide. It's not just TP-wide. This thing is global. This is a global community, me and you. And I was just telling somebody on lunch today, listen, we've all got our callings. We've all got our gifts. We've all got our talents that the Lord has bestowed upon each one of us. Because let me tell you something. If it was up to me to build houses, we'd still be living in tents. If it was up to me to fix cars and build a car and design a car, we'd all still be riding bikes. Do you see what I'm saying? So you've got your talent, you've got your gifting from the Lord. Hone in on that. Don't let anything distract you or get you to lay the weights aside, man, and fiercely focus on what God has called you to do. So that brings me to my next point. The very first time that I ever met anybody in the music business here in Nashville, I didn't know anybody in the music business. I didn't know the business was even a part of music. I had never been to Nashville. I'd never been to Music City, USA. The only thing that I knew in college was this, that Michael W. Smith, who I grew up listening to and loved to listen to, and I affectionately call him Smitty, he was on Reunion Records, and the way I knew that is because I just looked on the back of a CD and I saw Reunion Records. So some of my friends talked me into doing this little demo tape. Yes, tape. I mean, it should have been an 8-track. It should have been just a record, a 45. I mean, it was the CD. It was the turn of the century CD time, and I was sending in a tape. So what I did is I had my little tape. I walked out of the studio, a place called The Studio, because it was the only studio in town, the town that I went to college in. And I looked up Reunion Records. I went to Barnes & Noble. I found a recording address book, looked up the address for Reunion Records, and I sent in my tape, care of no one in particular, because I didn't know anybody in particular, so I just sent it to Reunion Records, care of Reunion Records. Next thing you know, a couple weeks later, I'm sitting in my dorm room, the phone rings. I answer the phone, I said, "Is this Nate Sallie?" I said, "Yes, it is." "And who am I speaking to?" They said, "This is such and such, the A&R director from Reunion Records." I said, "You've got to be kidding me." He said, "I'm not kidding you." And here's what he asked me next. He said, "Hey, we love your music. The president loves your music. When are you playing next?" I wasn't playing anytime next. I wasn't playing at all. But here's what I said. I said, "When you're coming, I'll be playing." And sure enough, we set up a concert at our student union, and he flew in to play. And I thought, oh my word, I must have worked myself up into a nervous frenzy. That's all I can think of. Because I had never again met anybody in the business, didn't know anything about the business. I had a tape, and I thought this is the first contact that I'm ever going to experience, that I'm going to have with somebody from Music City, USA. He flew in. I went to pick him up at the airport. I was driving him to his hotel, and I realized, being a college student that I was, that I only filled up my tank at about $5 at a time. Never completely filled it up, because I never completely had enough money to fill it up. So I'd only filled it up about $5 worth. Well, go figure, on the way to the hotel room, I ran out of gas. So I thought, I'm going to pull over here and get some gas. I had a kind of a little convertible, an old convertible, and so it was a nice spring warm day, and he was sitting there, and I was conversing with him. We were just sitting there talking, just having a good old time, as chaps will do. And I was pumping some gas. We're chatting. Well, little did I realize that I had failed to put the receiver into the gas tank. So I ended up pumping about $10 to $15 of gas onto my pants. My pants were soaked. Basically, as I was talking with him, I must have been so nervous that I was just pumping gas in my pants. Pumping gas down my pants. He didn't see it, thank goodness. I soaked my pants. So obviously when I stepped in, there was the smell, the odor of gasoline in the car. So I in turn quickly got him settled in. He took a nap. I went back to the dorm room. I didn't know what to do. I'd never poured gasoline on my pants before. Usually I'm aware enough and focused in, not distracted enough to put the receiver into the gas tank, but not this time, because I was so focused and distracted by this guy that was from Music City, USA. So here's what happened. I went back and I thought, what am I going to do with these? How do I get rid of these pants? Well, the best thing I can think of is let's hang them up in my dorm room, my little 10 by 10 cubicle, where everybody else, there's probably 50 to 60 guys that live on this dorm and in this hall. So I hang them up, and I don't think anything of it. I'm going to let them just dry out. We go do the concert. I go pick up my friend from, I'm calling him my friend. That's how we do it in the music business. All of a sudden, I've known him for 5 minutes. He's my friend now. So I picked him up from his hotel. We went to the concert. I come back maybe midnight that evening. I walk onto the hall, and to my surmise, I realized that everybody that enters the hall enters like this. And their skin's melting, their eyes are burning. I mean, they're on the ground crawling around. They can't, I mean, the force of the smell was unbelievable. So I realized what's going on. My pants that are soaked in gasoline are the culprit. And basically, we had to lift the windows. We had to get rid of those things. We had to fumigate the entire dorm room because no one could, 60 men went homeless that evening because we couldn't step through the thickness of the odor that was emanating from those gasoline-stained pants. So I just had to get rid of them. So that's my story. The very first time that I ever met someone in the music business, you know what I did? I soaked my pants.